How is going today? Lord, it's Dwayne.
My name's Jasmine.
We're Dwayne Jazz. Today we have for you heavy spoilers. Make sure you check them out. Spider-Man No Way Home official trailer breakdown. Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, we just want to thank everyone that supported the video yesterday.
Yes.
We got trending on YouTube for our first time. Not YouTube gaming, but actual YouTube trending.
Yeah.
And we just want to thank y'all so much, man. Make sure y'all like the video. Also, if you guys have any requests, please follow us on social media in the link in the description below. Don't forget to
subscribe.
Let's dive on. And I can't wait to see what we missed. And
we start off with Peter and MJ sitting on a rooftop. This is something that has happened at several points in the comics and films, and I got a lot of vibes here of the original Spider-Man 3, in which the pair both sat stargazing. We learn that this is in the aftermath of Peter's identity being made public, but it looks like at this point that he's managed to clear his name, even if everyone now knows it. MJ is reading a newspaper from the New York Post and not the Daily Bugle, as we learned that in the MCU it was an Alex Jones-esque show rather than a publication. On the front cover it reads Peter Parker and his Spider Minions, with him puppeting people, showing that the media is still sort of trashing him, even though he saved the city. And
I don't know how. Why?
It puts some dirt in their eyes, and it also shows that those around him have been pulled into it too, which we'll talk about later on in the video. Now, MJ reads one of the passages out about how some suggest Parker's powers include the ability to hypnotize females. Whilst this is thrown away as a little joke, it actually foreshadows the big reveal in the trailer, in which Peter asks Strange to pretty much hypnotize the entire world into forgetting that he's Spider-Man. Peter just wants to stay there forever, and then we cut to him and MJ swinging through the streets of New York in the aftermath of the post-credits scene from Far From Home. Peter's face is blown up all over Times Square, with the mask superimposed onto one side. This iconography pulls from the comics, namely when his spider sense is set off, and it's also very similar to some of the promo material, which showed his face split between strangers. We later see a shot in which people swamp him at a subway entrance.
For some reason, I don't feel like that's
judging by
Doctor
the
Strange.
location of this
I feel
shot,
like that's somebody
I would say that this is how the movie opens.
Pause real quick.
Why would he do that?
Who could it be? Somebody. So you think somebody
like Kang or something? That's what I'm thinking
Kang?
in my mind.
Kang can't do math. I'm not gonna say that.
I don't know,
but
like I don't know. I don't know, but I don't know why.
You just don't trust it, yeah. You just don't trust it.
Yeah, I just don't trust that. That's like Doctor Strange doing something that's so dangerous, especially if Wong is like, don't do it.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do it. And then it's like, yeah, I'm
gonna do it.
And then I know that Wong is definitely. I think that scene of him leaving on vacation was definitely him going to the area where he had to fight Abomination in Shang-Chi. That's what I think.
Yeah. You told me that later, and I was like, yeah, that might be. Because he was over there. I don't know why he's over there in the tournament.
Because we didn't know how he got over there, but now we see him going through a portal.
So that might
bags, and
he might be going over there
on vacation over there.
Maybe to learn their powers or whatever. I can't wait to see Shang-Chi and see how it fits, because it's gonna fit.
Yeah.
They put Wong in there, and they connected to Doctor Strange, so that's gonna eventually tie in. I can't wait to see that. Anyway, let's dive back in.
The street sign says West 33rd Street, which, according to Google Maps, is opposite Pennsylvania Station, which is where Peter was at during the post-credit scene of that movie. From what we know of the film, the opening is very much going to be in the same vein as John Wick 3, and it'll see Spider-Man being chased across New York as this revelation breaks the internet. We cut to him in the police station trying to explain the drones, and how they are what killed Mysterio, even though he was put in charge of Edith. Peter also sits with handcuffs on, which reminds me a lot of Man of Steel when Superman was being interrogated.
He could
clearly snap out of them in a second, but he's left them on for appearance's sake. And there's a guy who slams down some papers in a split-second shot, and it looks a lot like Matt Murdock from The Shirt to the Tie. We do know that Charlie Cox will be in the movie, and this is a blink and you'll miss a moment that I'm 99% sure is him.
You know Netflix Daredevil?
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah.
Said it definitely wasn't him, so tell him to shut the hell up in the comments if he's wrong, because I bloody hate the guy for disagreeing with me. Now we cut to him and MJ reading their phones, which clearly have headlines and reports about the revelation. I love how this and the opening of the trailer are pretty much them obsessing over the news reports, and it shows how much it being out there has completely dominated their lives. Peter wanting to just stay on the roof away from everyone shows how much he feels deep down that it's changed things for the worst, and it nicely sets up the actions that he takes. Also, I love how MJ has sketches of people hanging above her bed, and this is something that she of course did during detention in Homecoming. Next we get what is clearly a flashback, in which the character likely handed himself in or was taken to court. We see someone as a sign that says Devil in Disguise and Mephisto.
Like,
confirmed.
why?
Mephisto, bro.
He's joined by
My
Ned,
goodness.
MJ, and what I think is Flash Thompson, who has dyed his hair blonde.
Oh,
In the comics,
Lord.
the character
Or it's the
was
Devil in
blonde,
Disguise,
and it's nice
Doctor
to see him
Strange.
supporting Peter. Flash was obviously a massive Spider-Man fan, but ironically, he hated Peter and also bullied him.
And now
the reveal
how is
has
it?
obviously changed
Right.
things, and it will be interesting to see if reversing this knowledge turns him back into being a baddie. Next, we cut to what I believe is immediately after the events of Far From Home, in which both Peter and MJ are getting followed through New York. From here, we jump to him in school, and bruh, I cannot believe he went back there. You know what?
I mean,
I'm
he has to go
somewhat
to
of
school.
an idiot myself, and I definitely wouldn't be returning there, mate.
I wouldn't be
Steer
going to
clear.
school.
I mean,
And we
how,
can also
how's
see
he
the
gonna
back
get
of
his
some
education?
Letterman jackets, and Ned could be
Edith.
caught wearing one of these in the recently released Funko Pop pics for the film. The M on it likely stands for Midtown High, which is what Peter attended in the comics. Spoiler alert. Now, we see Peter and May sat in their apartment, and from this shot,
It looks like
I
somebody's
almost get the
coming.
feeling like someone has walked in on them
Yep.
from the way that she sits up.
Mm-hmm.
Peter says that this isn't about him, it's hurting the people he loves, and as Batman said, the mask is to protect those around you.
Exactly.
Now, this might be pulling slightly from the Civil War comic, as that had Peter revealing his identity to the world in order to show that the Superhuman Registration Act was something worth doing. Peter was very much the eyes and ears of the reader, and over time he changed his mind and went on the run. His arc actually ended with Aunt May getting shot, which plays into the One More Day storyline that we'll talk about in a bit. Either way,
Whoa.
you very much get the idea that the reveal of his name has led to people around him being put in danger.
Yep.
And it'll be interesting to see if they lean into what happens with May in that, especially as we don't really see her in the rest of the trailer. Now,
Oh,
along with
so
May,
you're saying
Ned
she
too gets
might be
questioned
dead.
by the police.
Wow.
And
Please
it's clear
no.
that a lot of people want to know when the announcement that Toby and Andrew are in the movie is going to drop.
Please.
Just tell us, yeah? Just tell us, and there won't be a problem.
I just got my cash back now.
Now, from this trailer, we can also confirm that the film will be spanning a lot of seasons as we catch Peter in a classroom with Halloween decorations hanging up. Go back to when he and MJ were sat in their room, and we could see Christmas lights.
Christmas light.
Yeah.
We
Wow.
also know from behind-the-scenes videos that Peter is going to be in the snow at some point. So I would say that this movie takes place
Summer?
over at least the span
Over
of
time.
6 months.
Yeah,
Right.
6
Judging
months,
from
yeah.
when Far From Home happened and the decoration around the sets. Now, hilariously, Pierre comes up with the idea to go and see Doctor Strange.
And that's why it
while
was
looking
snowing in
at
the
the
Sanctum
hanging wizard
Sanctorum.
lights that are in the aforementioned room. He journeys to the Sanctum Sanctorum, which we can see covered in snow. Now, why this likely is because Bruce Banner blew a big hole in the roof during the opening of Infinity
He
War.
did.
He did. They didn't
He
fix
did,
that?
Yeah.
Was at the very least snapped away, and the
And
fact
didn't
that it
fix
took
it.
a while to get it fixed
Right.
might confirm that Wong was too. During this time, the elements have taken over. We can now catch him shoveling snow. But bro, thought you could use magic. Bro, you set a fireplace on fire, bro.
So you can
Just
do the
melt
same
it
thing for
and
the
do that
whole
thing you did in
room.
Endgame. Just do that with the water. Now, Strange and Peter have a nice
Maybe
little
he
back and
wants
forth
Maybe he wants
in
it.
which they talk over what to address each other as. This, of course, plays on the first time that they met, in which they used their made-up names. Strange's mug says, "For fuck's sake," which sort of makes me think he's thinking that, seeing Peter show up on his doorstep. Anyway, the webhead has one request, and that is to remove the knowledge from everyone's head that Peter
Which
Parker
I think
is
is a bad
Spider-Man.
idea.
Now, as
Bad
mentioned
idea.
earlier, this
Yeah.
is clearly pulling from the comic book storyline One More Day, in which he went to Strange in order to help save Aunt May. Strange even lived in a run-down and boarded up Sanctorum during this, and he helped him to travel through multiple timelines so that he could see if there was anyone who could help. Unfortunately, everyone said that there was nothing they could do, and thus he ended up turning to Mephisto. And this idea of traveling through timelines could potentially be seen in the trailer, as Peter asks if he can go back in time or something, and Strange levitates at one point in a position that looks similar to what he did in Infinity War. Now, if we are right with this, then it clearly doesn't work, as Strange has to carry out a different spell, and as Endgame showed us, all that traveling back would do would be to create a branched reality. In the comics, no one was able to help Peter, and he ended up making a deal with Mephisto, and along with bringing May back, he also removed the knowledge from everyone's mind that Peter was Spider-Man.
So
This
there
was so
might
that
be.
people
See,
wouldn't come
Doctor
after May
Strange might be
again,
Mephisto.
and in exchange for doing this,
Maybe.
Mephisto made it
We
so
don't
that
know.
Peter and MJ never got married. Now, the fact that Strange is the one carrying out the spell, and not the devil who's always in the details, makes me think he won't actually be showing up in the MCU for a long time. Yes, I know it was obvious. I was just holding out hope that one of the fan theories would be right, and everything I said in one
Right.
version wasn't for nothing. Now, in between this scene, we hear Peter explaining to Strange why it's really important that this happens, and amongst the shots are him getting swamped, which we talked about earlier. Jump to Wong, who warns Strange not to cast the spell, and he promises not to, even though he gives Peter a cheeky little wink.
Exactly.
Interestingly, Wong packs his bags and leaves, and from what we've seen of the Shang-Chi trailer, this might actually be him going off to fight the
Like I
Abomination.
thought.
Kevin Feige has confirmed that he is indeed in the film. I like that we kind of watch him walking off whilst this happens. We watch Strange use one of Peter's hairs in the Men in Black memory eraser spell. Clearly something like this is needed in order to tie a spell to someone.
Just
And
picking
the
it
character
off.
pinched some hair from Thor in Ragnarok before sending him and his brother off to meet Odin. In following the channel, then you'll know we talked about this moment in our last plot leak video, and it looks like Peter interrupting the spell is what causes reality to break open. He doesn't want his girlfriend or people like May to forget he's Spider-Man, and thus he knocks Strange's concentration off
He's
slightly
like, "Stop
in order
talking."
to stipulate this. Earlier in the trailer, Peter does say that he feels bad about lying to MJ, so it does make sense why this would suddenly spring to mind. Now if Toby and Andrew are indeed in the film, which worst kept secret of all time, then this moment could be a callback to the Happy Birthday storyline. In that, Dormammu attacked New York, and Doctor Strange cast a spell which Peter interrupted. This split up in time itself, and he was able to view a future version of himself as well as a past one. He was able to interact and change events, so we might even see a moment in which Peter stops the broadcast with Mysterio. Either way, the spell seemingly works, but we also get what looks like a rainbow bridge amongst it being cast over the world. This effect is typically shown when someone is traveling through the Bifrost, so maybe at this point a villain comes across the multiverse and into the MCU. Weirdly, this effect was actually used in
just don't name.
trailers, so give yourself a pat on the back if you did that. You spoiled the trailer, and you got it right. Well done. Now, there are several villains that I counted in this first look.
Oh, yes.
Or at least
saw
teasers
that.
to them. This is obviously the first look,
love
and
that
Sony
shot.
don't want to blow their load. But from what I saw and what we know of the film, the rumours and reports are true. It's true. All of it.
All of
The
it.
first big one is, of course, Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus, who arrives at the end of the trailer and says, "Hello, Peter."
Oh!
Right.
One of the many quick cuts. Was that was a really bad. I should have re-recorded that, but
Oh my
Now,
goodness.
Molina has pretty much taken the mantle of the spoiler man from Tom Holland, and he's been out and about telling us everything that happens in the movie. According to him, we see a scene in which an alternate version of the character at the end of Spider-Man 2 is pulled across the multiverse through a portal. If you cast your mind back to that film, the villain died after drowning a miniature sun in the Hudson, and it's possible that when this collapsed that it pulled him across.
That's how he got
Green
there.
Goblin is also teased when a pumpkin bomb rolls towards the
Oh
screen.
man, I got
We've been
chills when I
saying for
saw
months
that.
now that he's in the film, and that he will end up forming the Sinister Six.
Yes.
We also see some
boy.
electrical sparks, and know from Jamie
We
Foxx
saw
that
that
will be a
after.
We saw that
prize
after.
for Electro,
Yep.
though his
Electro
costume
and
was
Sandman.
at the
Yep.
end of The Amazing Spider-Man, Fox was overcharged, and he was seemingly killed, though they may explain that this sent him off into an alternate reality. Peter's black and gold suit has been heavily shown in the toys and promotional material,
Yep.
and judging by the circuitry on it,
And we saw it
this
in
will
the
be
trailer,
used to
too.
fight the electrical enemy. Now, they may pull from this, they may not, but from what I've been told, the majority of the characters are what-if versions in which their arcs differ slightly, so if you still like the versions from the original films, then that isn't going to be room for you. We also see a pile of sand rising up in the trailer, as well as the lizard
It was
from
such
the
a
Amazing
quick
Spider-Man
second.
2
The lizard?
jumping up at Peter while sits in a glass prison.
The
Now,
lizard?
we'll be doing some
Oh,
minor
I didn't even
spoilers
see
I didn't
that.
see the lizard.
Wow.
context of this shot from what the leaks say. I know some of you don't want to know anything, so if you don't want this ruined, then swing out of the video. But I promise you, I'll just be providing info on the scenes and nothing really beyond that. As always, take these with a pinch of salt, as they might not come true, but the trailer does line up a lot with what I've been told, so you have been warned. Now, Strange apparently imprisons the villains in this after they cause chaos across New York. Whilst he tries to figure out a way to send them back, Willem Dafoe's Norman Osborn shows up to ask about their lives, and they say the last thing they remember was Spider-Man.
Oh
Unable to free
man.
them because of the powerful magic, Osborn goes to Peter and pleads with him to help out, and he tells him that these characters will die if they're returned home. The Peter of their world was there when they passed away, and Tom Holland's version is racked with guilt because he could potentially be sending them back to their deaths. So he breaks into Strange's prison and steals a magical cube that's holding them in place. We see this in the trailer, and Strange supposedly chases Peter across New York in the mirror
My
dimension.
goodness.
This is why we get a big chase scene, and also see the city falling in on itself at one point like
Yep.
Inception.
I was just thinking of Inception too when I saw all of that.
And it's going to make for an amazing scene. From what we get in the trailer, it looks absolutely outstanding. I think it's going to blow a lot of people's minds watching this in IMAX. There's also a big chase on a train, and it's clear that Strange doesn't mind throwing everything he can, including Uncharted 2 directly at him.
Oh my goodness.
in order to stop him
Uncharted
from
was such a
multiverse.
fun game.
Strange clearly catches up to Peter at one point, and he pushes his astral projection out of his body,
Like was done
which is
to
also
him.
something that the
And
Ancient
that-
One did to the
yep.
Incredible Hulk. Now, from what Strange says about double lives, I kind of get the feeling that Peter might actually be attempting to flip back and forth between MJ knowing who he is and also forgetting. Potentially the spell broke reality, and him constantly doing this might be why Strange says the things that he does about living two lives. You also see what could potentially be Miles Morales' mother, and if you cast your mind back to the title reveal, you'll remember that the surrounding lines looked a lot like the island Puerto Rico, so it could be teasing his introduction here.
Please, because y'all already teased him
Iron
before.
Spider suit, which carries a slightly different design to what it had in Infinity War. To me, this looks more in line with the Civil War version that was in the comics, but they've also made it at least line up with what's come before. Now, if we look at the Happy Birthday storyline, it actually culminates with
villains.
this entire rogues gallery across a number of timelines. This obviously lends itself to the concept of No Way Home, and I would definitely recommend checking out that book if you want some comics that the movie will probably pull from. At the end of it,
I don't wanna
Strange
get
gives
spoiled.
Peter
I don't wanna get
Parker's
spoiled,
message,
yeah.
and he opens it to find that it actually brings Uncle Ben back to him for a few moments.
For a few
They'll
moments
talk
till he gets
about
shot
Peter's
again.
life and have a really amazing conversation that will bring tears to your eyes. No,
Jesus
not me,
Christ,
not me,
Jazz.
though. I'm solid as fuck, me.
They said
Now,
for a
another
moment.
interesting
I mean, he
aspect of the
gone.
novel
He's
is that it
gonna
ends
get
with
shot
Doctor
again.
Strange realizing that by breaking the multiverse, he's caused a lot of problems in the magical world. It very much teases that he'll be facing off against several sorcerers, and potentially this could be what happens with Wanda. It was said that Loki, No Way Home, and In the Multiverse of Madness will all be part of the same storyline.
Yep.
I think it makes a lot of sense, judging from the way that the comic ends, that he'll
Yep.
be going toe-to-toe with her. Though we don't know for definite whether Wanda's gonna be a villain, I actually think that she will, and yeah, I'd love to see the Scarlet Witch go head-to-head with Strange.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, man. So I'm glad we watched this because I didn't even peep the lizard.
I didn't
even
even
see the lizard.
see that either.
We saw Sandman and Electro through
After,
editing after
yeah.
looking at the video and editing.
When I was
and stuff.
editing, because I showed Dwayne, because I was editing it, and then I saw like that. I saw closer that quick clip of like it was like half a second. It was like lightning, and you just saw sand come up, and I was replaying it, rewinding
Right.
it, rewinding it, rewinding it. I was like, that is Electro.
That's
and
Electro
Sandman.
Sandman. So
And I couldn't believe that we did not know.
I
that.
know, right? We
In
went
the-
to the
freaking
bomb. The
trailer.
bomb did
It
it though.
was-
It was
yeah,
the bomb.
it
It
was
was
the
the
pumpkin
bomb.
bomb that
Because we
made
like
me,
we
like,
looked
go
and
crazy.
we looked, but then the bomb rolled down. We just lost our minds. And then the
Yeah.
and
So I wasn't even thinking about it.
Right. Okay. So look, we got Lizard, we got Electro, we got Sandman, we got Doc Ock, we got Green Goblin.
That's
Who-
5 out of the 6.
We're missing one more from the Sinister Six.
So
you think it might be
Scorpion,
Scorpion, Vulture,
Vulture,
or
Rhino,
Rhino? Rhino's possibility too.
Maeve.
Maybe.
Nah, I don't know.
I don't know. Or
Mysterio's dead. Ish. I don't know.
he can come back. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
He could come back. He could have
But-
never died.
But that I didn't even notice that they were probably teasing Miles' mom too.
I didn't even know who that was. I was like, who's that?
Because y'all heard me say it before. Why are they gonna tease Miles with Childish Gambino acting as his uncle
Who's the
without,
Prowler.
without ever bringing him up? And it looks like they're getting closer and closer to like bringing him to like the forefront of the screen.
And it would make sense if they're gonna
Yeah.
do this whole thing about like, all this multiverse stuff. We're
Miles
not.
in there.
Wait, and then bring Spider-Gwen in there.
Now the thing that's gonna confuse me if they do bring Miles like to the MCU, right? Who's gonna be Genki? Because he's basically Ned,
Ned is Genki.
which is Peter's friend.
Yeah.
Who- Peter's friend should have been Harry, but they made it Ned, which is like Genki, really. So I'm like, are they gonna share him? Like, I don't know what they're gonna do.
I agree because
Like,
I was
I
like,
don't-
because
I don't know.
yeah,
Like,
like Ned is
Kind of like
Genki.
they combined Peter and Miles together a bit. Like,
Yeah, they did.
So I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what they're gonna do there.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna see. We're gonna see how they
gonna make a
finesse
new
this,
friend
man.
for him? I don't know.
He's gonna be solo. Who knows? I
Harry's
don't
gonna be
know.
his friend.
Right, Harry's gonna be his friend. But I enjoyed this. Make sure y'all check out Heavy Spoilers. Give this channel some love. Anyway, comment below. Let us know what you think.
Don't forget to like,
Subscribe.
share.
Share some more.